Hello everyone, and welcome back to my Unity development log series for Colonise. This week we'll be working on the pirate controller script, which will allow the pirates to take a turn when the next turn button is pressed before passing control back to the player. This will cover each of the pirate bases, spawning units if they need to, and then each of the pirate ships moving. And whilst this is very simple at the moment, once we begin to extend it, we'll see some real behaviour coming from the enemies. Much like our home planet that the player uses, a pirate needs somewhere to spawn with in the first place. I did a bit of research into sci-fi stereotypes, and quite often pirate bases are in the middle of asteroids. So I created this little asteroid and then cut the side out of it and made this sort of hangar type thing with some platforms for ships to land on and maybe a city inside there, or I don't know, but I made this little model and we got it into the game. So to spawn the pirate base in the grid manager generate planet script for each pirate base in the map size info, which we covered the generation of last week, we spawn a pirate base and then add it to the list of pirate bases in the pirate controller class. And here it is in the game world. This pirate base is spawning in the, not the outer ring, but in the ring just one in from that. So still quite far from the home planet over here. And as a prefab, it's got the regular things attached to it. A mesh renderer and a mesh itself, a collider so that we can click on it, a planet script, a selectable component with its name set and the owner as pirates, and this pirate base script which I then developed. So the pirate controller script is just attached to the game controller in the world, and whenever a new turn button is clicked, we want to start a pirate's turn. So I had to change the structure of this a little bit and turn all the turn passing into enumerators so that it can be ran as coroutines. Unity appears to run things in parallel if they are in different scripts. So you have to specify them as coroutines so that you can say, for example, the player new turn doesn't begin until the pirate's turn has finished being taken. So once I made this an enumerator, the button press calls this new turn, which starts the coroutine. It sets the pirate's turn GUI to active, which is just saying the pirates are taking the turn at the minute. And it starts the coroutine and says, while they haven't finished their turn yet, stay here. This is essentially what yield return null means, is don't progress any further in this function until this line reads as true. So how do we evaluate whether the pirates have finished their turn or not? Well, it's a simple boolean which I created in the pirate controller class. It begins each turn as false, and when it gets to the end of the script, it's true. And once again, we have to make all these coroutines so that we can make sure that it's not getting to this finished turn before it's completed the actions of individual scripts that we are calling through this function. So here first, we loop over each pirate base that exists in the pirate bases list, which is the same list I added the pirate base to earlier from Grid Manager, and performs their actions, and then it does the same thing for each ship. Now, at the minute, there aren't been any ships created. So, if we hop into the pirate base class, you'll see once again more coroutines and enumerators being started here. At the minute, it's very, very simple. We're just saying take a turn, and if it is the first turn of the game, start this coroutine to create the ship Scuttler prefab, and then return finished actions when this is done. Once all the ships have acted and all the bases have acted, we then loop through the pirate ships to reset their moves taken to 0, making sure it's not going to just forever decrement towards a minus infinity number, and set the finish turn to true, which means that the game controller new turn coroutine can continue to the player's next turn. So with the base code all looking in order, I created the first pirate ship model. I've named this one the Scuttler. It's going to be sort of a reconnaissance unit that will explore and try and find the players' planets and ships, and then it will be able to feed that data back into the pirate controller class, meaning other ships will be able to harass the player. I then set up the prefab for the Scuttler ship within Unity. So it has, again, normal components such as the mesh renderer and mesh collider. It has a copy of the ship script from which I stripped all the components that are specific to the player into a new script called player ship, which is attached to the mine and science shuttle, but not to the Scuttler. And I created a pirate ship script, which is basically in replacement of those player-specific functions to do the same things for the pirate, but automatically. Again, this is a very simple start, just so that we can get an overview of how the system is working, but when the pirate ship's created and awakes, it sets some variables here, and then chooses a path. This choose path function is not a path as in pathfinding across the hexes, but an AI path. So a path of a tree to follow in the AI decisions moving forward. At the minute, this AI behavior, the only one that's implemented has been explore. I've added some others to the enumerable, harass and defend, so they will eventually be developed. But right now, we're just working with this explore. And then when it takes a turn, it will case through those on a switch statement and say, have I finished doing what I'm doing yet? If so, continue. The same again with these coroutines, allowing the pirate controller to continue and finish its turn. So this explore function at the minute, very simple. It's just finding a hex that is up to the ship's movement towards the right unless it hits the edge of the map, and then going towards the left as well on a horizontal axis. So it's just going to bounce right and left across the map at the moment. It's not the actual explore mechanic, obviously. I'm going to try and make it explore towards areas that the pirate has not yet discovered until it finds a player, and then they might harass or change their behavior in another way. But right now, it's enough to see some basic implementation of our system. Once it's found the target hex, it checks, am I enabled or not? If it is enabled, it will move to the hex in the same way as a player would, so we'll see the movement. If its mesh is not enabled, meaning it's hidden by the fog, it will simply jump. This should save some time for the player, as if they're not actually seeing movement on the screen, why make them wait? So going into the editor now, we'll be able to see this in action. Once I hit this next turn button, it will be the pirate's first turn of the game, and a Scuttler should appear in our game world here, as it has done. And if we hop over into the scene, we should be able to find that. It's over here, so it should be 3 to the right of the pirate base, because it's already started moving. And if I start typing that into the search bar, you'll see the pirate base is roughly 3 to the left of where the Scuttler is. If we just skip turns again, I think there's 3 hexes left there. If there's not, then it'll start moving back in the other direction. Just skip to the next turn. And the Scuttler, yep, it's moved further over to the right. And as described earlier, once the ship is in sight of the player and a new turn is clicked, instead of just skipping straight to the next turn, it will make them wait while the pirates take their turn. That's all for this week, folks. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button. Feel free to like, comment, or share the video. And hit me up on Twitter at Darth_JarJar with any suggestions, comments, or improvements. Next week, we'll be back, hopefully with some improved pirate AI to allow them to explore more thoroughly. However, I haven't quite nailed down what I'm going to be doing next. Instead, I might add some attacks, or I don't know. If you'd like to see something in particular, please do let me know. If not, see you guys next time.